I was recently working on creating a baby registry because sites like Target and Amazon give you a free welcoming gift as well as a discount off of your registry items. And I couldn't help but notice that the checklist that was supposed to help me out was really pretty useless to me because I kept scrolling through most of it thinking, nope, don't need that, and definitely not. So today I'm going to share with you 23 popular baby products that you don't need. And this is going to be a two-part video. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all the items that I regret having purchased. And then the next part is going to be the items that I'm so glad I did have that really made my life easier or that helped me avoid having to buy lots of other things for my babies. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss part 2 of this video. But keep in mind, this list is personal to me. Some of these things you may feel is a little bit too minimalist for you. I'm currently in my 3rd pregnancy and I've been practicing minimalism for a while, so I've been able to see some of those items that I regret having purchased thinking, why did I fall for that? And also some items that I'm so glad I didn't buy and I didn't fall for this story that you need all these particular items. So hopefully this list will just be helpful to give you some ideas, maybe some alternatives, especially if this is your first child. Number 1 is a crib and a toddler bed. So right away, I'm going to just list you the one that I was most criticized for, most judged for, like, you're a horrible mom. Why do you have your kid on a mattress on the floor? Oh well, whatever. What I did with my first 2 is I didn't buy them a crib. I didn't buy them a bassinet, the little pack and play and all those other things. We basically bought a twin mattress and had them on the floor. And then once they were able to kind of crawl, we got the twin bed and then put a rail in front of it. So that way they wouldn't like fall off the bed. And I've loved that because I didn't have to buy like the one item and then like the crib and then the toddler bed and then the twin bed. They just went straight to the regular stuff that they were going to use throughout their childhood that they're still using. With this one though, this one's a little spoiled because my friends gave me a pack and play, so now I'll have like the little bassinet there. But otherwise, we already have the twin mattress and we already have the bed with the rail, and that's going to be what this child is going to use going forward. Number 2, baby food. A lot of baby food. It has a lot of preservatives, a lot of toxic chemicals, because if you think about it, how do they make that stuff last so long? Where if at home you're pureeing an apple, it doesn't last that long. So how do they make it last that long? I mean, sometimes we need that. Sometimes the convenience is important and we have to have those things. Personally, I didn't spend a lot of money on those because we did baby-led weaning. Again, I'm nobody to tell you what to do with your child, but this worked for me. Basically what that meant is that instead of having the pureed mashed up food, I would just have soft foods. So instead of like mashing up the banana and giving it to my kid with a spoon, I'd give them a piece of banana so they could hold it in their hand, feel the texture, put it in their mouth, and then practice that gnawing. Half the time they're spitting out food anyway, but I loved baby-led weaning. Number 3, gyms. I feel like this is so overrated and you don't need it. I just used a blanket on the floor and I just don't think that you need the fancy stuff that tends to be overpriced anyway. Number 4, baby bath toys. I had them with my first, and let me tell you, they get nasty. I mean, especially if you have the squirt ones that get water trapped in them and then they develop mold, and it's just, no, never again, not for me. Number 5, maternity clothes. So real quick, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite hacks for being able to kind of use clothing that you already have or maybe borrowing things from other people and just being a little bit more creative with it. So for your jeans, you can just get a hair tie, wrap it through from the button, through the hole, and back over. And then you can just put a shirt over it and you can still continue to wear the jeans that you love. You can also wear dresses or borrow larger clothes from friends or family members and then just basically use a belt on top of them. I also haven't purchased any like maternity tops, and what I love to do is just to take like a bodycon, stretchy kind of dress, put it under a skirt, and that way like it covers my belly, but I don't have to actually go and buy this particular item. And if you do have the budget, my favorite item to wear is smock dresses. One, because that's my style, so I really like them. You don't have to have my particular style. But the reason that I love these is because since they're kind of stretchy, kind of like what I have right now, they're very figure flattering. So they're perfect for postpartum wear. They're perfect to wear during maternity because they just kind of fold over the belly. And they're also really good for nursing. And also I love looking for something that I can wear off the shoulder for 2 reasons. For nursing, but then also because I tend to get like the hot flashes and get very sweaty and hot very easily when I'm pregnant and postpartum. So I just like to already be thinking of, does it check this, this, and this, and this box? For me personally, if I'm buying clothing, I want it to be worn throughout all phases, not just for one specific season that really only lasts a few months. Number 6, bottle sterilizers. I know that there's babies that can be immunocompromised. Sterilizing can be very important, but I could boil the items instead of having to like buy this particular item that can do that for me. And then also, as far as like constantly boiling the baby bottles, I didn't do that. Like, call me a horrible mother, but like, my nipples aren't sterile, so why do I constantly have to sterilize these bottles? Like, I didn't get that. I just preferred boiling instead of buying this particular item that I didn't feel was necessary and was only gonna add more bulk, really. Number 7, walkers and bouncers. Now, this is not something that I'm qualified to tell you health-wise, but I've just read into this and I am so of the belief that these are actually harmful for your kids. Because like, if you think about it, what are they doing to the baby's legs? They're just like pulling their pelvis constantly and all their weight is on them. And then also, I did have one of those little like push walkers with my first child that had the buttons on it. And guess what she did? She just sat there and pushed the buttons. She didn't want to push this thing because it was more interesting to sit there and push the buttons. And number 8, sippy cups with the little handles and the little spout thing. This is my preference because, again, we did baby-led weaning, so I was trying to get them to get used to the adult version as quickly as possible. So cups that I have loved have been the Munchkin little sippy cups. They have a little sip lid, and so it gives them the ability to just hold a cup like a regular adult would hold a cup. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't say regular adult because we're all unique individuals. Maybe you like the little handle cups. Maybe you like sippy cups. What do I know? But I wanted them to get used to the things that they would usually use on a regular basis. And it worked pretty well for me. There's also a cup that I particularly loved, and it's the Miracle 360 cup. And I liked that one because, again, they're holding it from the side, they're sipping it without like having those little extended lids. And also, it helps give me sanity when they're first learning so that they're not like spilling it all over the floor. But again, those transitional stuff from going from this thing and then transitioning to this thing and then transitioning to this thing, I just, no, let's just go to what you're going to use later on. Number 9, pregnancy pillow. For one, these things are huge and I don't have the space to store one because I don't have a garage, I don't have a basement. Anything that I'm gonna buy like that big, I better have the space for it, and I don't. So I've never purchased one. I've never used one, so I can't say like they're not like super amazing. I can't judge it, but I've just used the pillows that we have, kind of propped one under my belly and then like one on my back and one on my legs. And if I needed extra pillows, I'd grab one from another room or even grab like the couch cushions. Like, it's okay. I didn't really feel the need to buy this huge item that I didn't have the storage for. And similar to that is a nursing pillow. I actually did have one with my first because it was gifted to me, but I didn't end up liking it because it was too low. I felt like they were too soft, and I ended up using just my sofa cushions because they're a little bit more firm and I could maneuver them wherever I wanted them. Next up is Nursery Decor. Now, don't hate me for this one, but I just have found they outgrow it so quickly, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes it's more for us than it is for them. Like, I'll give you an example. I sewed this little hedgehog. It was so cute, this little stuffed hedgehog. I sewed a little zipper on it with a little pocket, and I thought that my kids would just love it because they could put their, I don't know, little special something inside it. And neither of them cared for it. And eventually I just ended up donating it because they didn't care for it. They didn't want to grab this thing. And my son had this little hoodie that would fold over into a fox. And I thought, this is like the most adorable thing ever. Oh my gosh, surely he has to love it. Nope, didn't care for it. So I ended up donating that too. Sometimes those things that we keep because they're just so cute and so adorable, honestly, let's be honest, sometimes it's more for us than it is for them. And they outgrow it very quickly, so you don't really need all that. Next up, baby bath and personal care items. So not all, but most products that I have in my home are already non-toxic, like our detergent and our soaps and things like that. I tend to use a lot of soap bars from essential oils, cast-out soaps, almond oil and coconut oil for like skincare products. But I found, sadly, that if you scan most baby products on this app called Yuka, which is free by the way, you can see the toxicity scores of particular items, and so many of those popular baby brands that you would think are for sensitive skin are actually harmful. They actually contain toxic chemicals. Like even just recently, my pediatrician was recommending Eucerin and CeraVe for eczema for my daughter. And I was telling her, no, because if you scan those brands on the app, it'll show you all these toxic chemicals that are in them that are actually carcinogenic. Personally, I'm nobody to tell you what to do, like health-wise. I'm no doctor, so don't take this as health advice. You don't really need all those particular items that are targeted for baby. Next up is baby toys for children. I love this because to them, everything is new, everything is exciting, and everything is interesting. They don't really need buttons and gadgets, and actually the buttons and the gadgets can make it so that they have less creativity, so that they have less attention span, and so that they're less interested in the world around them. My personal preference was just to have items that they were safe, of course, that they would already grow into. So it wasn't like baby specific. So for example, large wooden blocks. For my older kids now, I rarely buy them toys, but the toys that they do have, they play with pretty much every single day, and they play for longer periods of time. They're more focused. And I just noticed that the toy situation isn't really as overwhelming. So if you find yourself overwhelmed by the toy clutter, the toy situation, I highly recommend you check out my 2 videos on eliminating toy clutter and minimalism with kids. I assure you, your kids don't actually need as many toys as marketers want you to think that they do, and they can actually thrive with less toys. Next up is shopping cart covers. So personally, I find this to be extra work for nothing, and to me, they're pretty useless. But if you find value in this and your concern is germs, then you really should wash these after every single use and be careful of how you remove it and store it after use. Me personally, I would prefer just use a carrier. Have them with you. The carrier that I've used, I've loved, used it twice, probably use it again, is the Ergo Baby, and I can just have my child with me. That way they're having, you know, that bonding time, that skin to skin time. I'm hands-free, so I can actually move around. So I don't have to worry about carrying those things back and forth and washing it and putting it in. It's not necessary. Next up, baby powders. I don't want to seem like a Debbie Downer, but a lot of the ones that you will find are actually toxic. They contain toxic chemicals. So really, I only use diaper rash cream when they had a rash, which was really pretty rare. But as far as like constantly putting on this like talc powders and whatever on my baby's butts, no, I did not do that. And the one that worked for me was the Bordeaux's butt paste, the zinc cream. I also really loved having a little butt spatula, so I didn't have to like touch it, you know. I don't know, it was like, I wasn't spanking my kids with it, but I really liked having the little butt spatula. And I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah. I did not do the talc powders and the stuff like that. Just if they had a diaper rash, the Bordeaux's butt cream with the butt spatula. Next up is bottle warmers. Again, this is one that I have never had, so I can't like give my 2 cents worth about it. But from a lot of reviews that I've seen, they take just as long sometimes if you just warm up the bottle yourself. And honestly, I'm gonna admit my horrible motherness, my meanliness. I didn't warm them up. Here you go. Here's my breast milk. And I was exclusively pumping with my second child, so I would just like stick it in the fridge and have at it. And they were fine. He was fine. He was never gassy. He was a perfectly healthy kid. He lived. He's fine. And real quick for a few next ones, baby mitts, because they fall off half the time and you can just use socks, which is much more effective, or get the onesies that have the little arms that flip over. I absolutely love those because they're like a 2-in-1. And baby shoes because they kick them off, they're pointless, and they're probably uncomfortable. I think that if I were a baby, I would probably want comfort, not cuteness. Mobile swings, rockers, and gliders. I placed a blanket on the floor and I used the heck out of my baby carrier. And I think that one, it also helped me kind of gain some strength, and also it helped provide me with that bonding time. Humidifiers. I had one and it got moldy, it got nasty. It was just way too much humidity, and I already live in a pretty humid climate, so I think I just kind of fell for the marketing that told me that I needed this item, when really what I probably needed was a dehumidifier because I live in a humid climate. So nope, no more moldy, nasty humidifiers for me. Number 22, sound machines. If you've got the money, then awesome, kudos for you and go for it. Maybe it'll be really helpful for you. But to those of you who feel like this stage seems eternal, it really is so short and you really don't need them. Voiceover Yessie here. I just wanted to interject because I don't want to sugarcoat this. Having a newborn can be incredibly overwhelming, and I just wanted to share with you one of my favorite videos, and it's basically 8 hours of Bible verses. So this is something that I use to kind of help me calm myself down, that can also calm my children down, because it has relaxing music to play in the background. So you can just subtly play this, and if you're waking up over and over and over again through the night, it can hopefully be of help to you and just to give you some much needed spiritual rest in the midst of what seems like just chaos everywhere. And also, you don't have to buy these things, because you can probably find some soothing sounds for free on YouTube, or if you could just kind of search relaxing music without ads. I found videos that are like 8 hours long without ads that are just kind of relaxing, little cricket sounds, little water sounds, things like that. You don't need these. Number 23 is the fancy Doona stroller that everyone raves over. I admit, if I was gifted one, I would be very excited, but it is not something that I'm gonna spend $600+ on, because I've had an almost 10-pound baby. So I highly doubt that it would even last me 1 year. And also, they have an expiration date, which I didn't know about, because the heat in the vehicle kind of makes the material deteriorate over time. So really, it makes it less safe over time. So it's not like a one and done kind of purchase. It's not recommended that children spend more than 2 hours in a car seat, because it affects their little curvature of their developing spines. When they're already also in a stroller, they're further away from you, and their little eyesight isn't as good as ours, so they can't see you. They can't interact with you because of their eyesight. So personally, again, common developing theme, I prefer the carrier. I prefer the carrier because they can see you, they can interact with you, they get that like skin to skin, they feel your heart, they hear your heartbeat. And then it also, I think it helps like us as moms or even dads to develop some strength, to climb up the stairs with the baby, to go to the store with the baby. Like, I really felt like I developed a lot more strength because of that. And I wasn't really worrying about like, oh, getting my figure back and going to the gym, because I was pretty active with holding my baby, just having my baby right with me. But let me know in the comments, what are some items that you regret buying, and also what alternatives worked for you? And for any of the products that I do recommend that I've personally used, I'll leave links to as much as I can in the description box, as well as my Amazon storefront. That way, if you're curious about any of the products that I use for baby or non-toxic cleaning or my personal care, you can see it all in one place. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss part 2 of this video, where I'm going to be sharing with you my minimalist must-haves. These are the items that I'm so glad that I did purchase, that kind of made my life easier, and that I would actually purchase again if I didn't have them. So I'll see you in that one. Bye!